The morning light filtered through the massive windows of Kepler Station as Ambassador Li Jin adjusted his crisp blue uniform one final time. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from excitement. After decades of humanity reaching toward the stars, today they would finally join the galactic community as equals. "Nervous?" asked Captain Kim Soo-ho as he approached, his own dress uniform pristine and medals gleaming. The captain had served humanity for 20 years, but today felt different than any mission he had ever undertaken. "Excited," Jean replied, watching the spectacular view of Earth rotating slowly below them. "My grandfather dreamed of this day. He used to tell me stories about what it would be like when humans walked among the stars as friends, not strangers." Dr. Park Min-soo hurried past them, his tablet displaying biological data on their alien guests. As humanity's top expert on alien life forms, he had spent months preparing for this historic meeting. "The Vorthan delegation just arrived," he announced breathlessly. "Their crystalline structure is even more beautiful in person. And the Nethys, their aquatic suits are technological marvels." Through the observation windows, the three men watched as sleek alien vessels docked with graceful precision. Each ship represented a different civilization, different worlds, different ways of thinking. The Vorthan craft sparkled like living diamonds, while the Nethys vessel rippled with water-like surfaces that seemed to flow despite being solid metal. 12 civilizations, Suho murmured in wonder. "Some older than human civilization itself. And they want us to join them." Security Chief Choi Doon approached the group, her expression troubled. Unlike the others, she carried herself with the cautious alertness of someone trained to expect danger. "Ambassadors, I need to report something unusual." Jean turned to her with a patient smile. "What is it, Chief?" "The alien formations don't follow their own diplomatic protocols," Doon explained, pulling up security footage on her device. "Look at how they're positioning their ships. It's not a welcoming formation, it's a battle formation." Min-soo frowned as he studied the data. "Perhaps their protocols are different than we understood. We're still learning about their cultures." "No," Doon insisted. "I've studied their military tactics for months. This positioning gives them complete firing coverage of the station and clear escape routes. They're positioned like they expect trouble." Suho examined the ship positions more carefully. The security chief was right. Every alien vessel held a strategic advantage. But surely that was just caution, not malice. They're probably just being careful. First contact with a new species is delicate for everyone. Jean placed a reassuring hand on Doon's shoulder. "Chief, I understand your concerns. Your job is to protect us and I appreciate that. But today we make history. We can't let suspicion ruin humanity's greatest achievement." The hours passed quickly as final preparations continued. Translators tested communication systems while diplomats reviewed treaty details one last time. The great assembly hall filled with representatives from across the galaxy, creating a spectacular display of diversity. The Vorthan towered above everyone else, their crystalline bodies refracting light into rainbow patterns. The Nethys moved gracefully in their water-filled suits, communicating through color changes that rippled across their translucent skin. The Altarian delegation stood at the center, their elegant forms and melodic voices making them natural mediators between species. "Ladies and gentlemen," announced the lead Altarian representative, his voice carrying a musical quality that made even basic words sound beautiful. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. We welcome humanity into our ancient alliance with joy and hope." Jean stepped forward to the ceremonial podium, where the Galactic Cooperation Treaty waited for his signature. The document represented everything humanity had worked toward: trade agreements, technology sharing, mutual defense pacts, and cultural exchange programs that would benefit Earth for generations. "On behalf of all humanity," Jean began, his voice carrying across the hall, "I accept this invitation to join the galactic community. We bring our knowledge, our friendship, and our commitment to peace among the stars." The stylus felt surprisingly heavy in his hand as he reached toward the treaty. This single signature would change everything for his species. Children would grow up knowing they were part of something larger than one small blue world. Suddenly, the lights dimmed to emergency levels. Red warning lights began flashing as alarm systems activated throughout the station. The cheerful atmosphere vanished as emergency klaxons wailed their urgent warning. "What's happening?" Jean shouted over the noise, but his words were lost as the first explosion shook the station. Through the great windows, Suho watched in horror as sleek alien battleships emerged from quantum space like deadly phantoms. Their weapons were already charging, energy building to devastating levels. "It's a trap," he screamed, but the chaos drowned out his warning. More explosions rocked Kepler Station as concentrated weapon fire tore through the hull. The beautiful assembly hall began to buckle and twist as atmosphere leaked into space. Below them, Earth's surface lit up with nuclear fire as major cities vanished in brilliant flashes. Gene stumbled as the deck tilted beneath his feet, finally understanding the terrible truth. The treaty had been a lie. The friendship had been fake. The aliens had gathered humanity's leaders in one place for a single, devastating purpose. The station structure groaned and cracked as alien weapons systematically destroyed every critical system. As Kepler Station began breaking apart, Gene managed one final transmission before the communication systems failed. "Remember what they did to us." The galaxy celebrated what the Alterians proudly named the cleansing, the successful elimination of a potentially dangerous species before it could threaten the established order. They believed humanity was finished forever. They had made the greatest mistake in galactic history. The morning sun barely penetrated the thick layer of radioactive dust that covered Seoul's ruins. Professor Yoon Tae-kyung climbed through the twisted metal and broken concrete, his radiation detector clicking steadily. 3 months had passed since the aliens destroyed everything humanity had built on the surface, but they had made one critical mistake. They thought killing the leaders would kill the spirit. Tae-kyung reached a hidden entrance buried beneath the rubble of what used to be Seoul National University. His hand pressed against a scanner that still worked despite the devastation above. The heavy door slid open with a quiet hiss, revealing elevators that descended deep into the Korean mountains. The underground facility stretched for miles in every direction, carved from solid rock over decades of secret preparation. Humanity had learned from its own violent history. They never put all their eggs in one basket again. "Professor." Lieutenant Colonel Seo Jae-min hurried toward him as the elevator doors opened. The military officer looked tired but determined, his uniform still crisp despite living underground for months. "We've been waiting for your return." The command center buzzed with activity. Dozens of people worked at computer terminals, their screens showing maps of hidden bases across the globe. Holographic displays revealed the true scope of humanity's survival network, a web of underground facilities that the aliens never suspected existed. "Give me the numbers," Tae-kyung said, settling into his chair at the main console. Jaemin pulled up the global status report. 47 major underground facilities remained fully operational. The Denver bunker successfully established contact with the Australian mining colonies yesterday. Most importantly, our lunar base survived the initial assault completely intact. Tae-kyung nodded grimly. The moon base was crucial. It held manufacturing capabilities and research data that would be essential for what came next. "What about our people on alien worlds?" A young woman stepped forward, her face showing the strain of recent months. Han So-young had spent 3 years living among the Alterians as part of humanity's cultural exchange program. Like hundreds of other humans scattered across alien worlds, she was supposed to be a student and diplomat. Now she was something much more dangerous. "Sir, our deep cover operatives across 12 different alien worlds are requesting activation codes," So-young reported. "They've been maintaining their cover identities, but they're ready to begin operations on your command." The professor's eyes burned with cold fury as he considered the reports. For decades, humanity had quietly placed their best and brightest on alien worlds. The aliens thought they were hosting students, researchers, and cultural ambassadors. They had no idea they were housing future intelligence agents and saboteurs. "The aliens made a fundamental error in judgment," Tae-kyung said, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's rage. "They assumed we would centralize our power structure like they do. They believed that destroying our surface leaders would break our spirit and end our resistance." He stood and walked to the quantum communicator, a device that could reach every hidden human facility across the solar system instantly. The technology was a hybrid of human engineering and alien science, improved and enhanced by human creativity. "This is Professor Yoon Tae-kyung broadcasting to all resistance cells throughout the solar system." His voice echoed through speakers in bunkers from the Arctic to Antarctica. "The aliens wanted to see what happens when you corner humanity. Today they begin to learn why we conquered the most dangerous planet in known space." The response was immediate. Screens across the command center lit up with confirmations from hidden bases everywhere. The Sahara facility reported full weapons production. The Siberian complex confirmed their biological warfare division was operational. Deep-sea platforms in the Pacific Ocean began manufacturing spacecraft components. Miles beneath the African desert, Chief Engineer Bae Junwoo watched production lines that ran 24 hours a day. His teams worked with desperate efficiency, creating weapons specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses of each alien species. The soft-bodied Nethys, who lived in their water-filled suits, would face sonic disruptors that could liquefy their internal organs through harmonic resonance. The crystalline Vorthen, proud of their diamond-hard exoskeletons, would meet engineered viral agents that could dissolve their structures at the molecular level. "It's almost poetic," Junwoo murmured as he watched a new batch of anti-Alterian nerve toxins roll off the production line. "They gave us detailed biological data on every species when they invited us to join their alliance. They thought we were friends gathering scientific knowledge." His assistant, a former biochemist named Park Eugene, looked up from her workstation. "The irony is perfect. They handed us the keys to destroying them while smiling and calling it cultural exchange." Back in the Korean command center, Taekyung reviewed intelligence reports from their operatives on alien worlds. So-young had provided detailed information about Alterian military installations. A deep cover agent on the Vorthen homeworld had mapped their entire communication network. Another operative had infiltrated the Nethys government and gained access to their defense protocols. "They invited us into their homes," Taekyung said softly. "They showed us their weaknesses while we smiled and took notes. They thought we were harmless because we were new to the galaxy." Jaemin brought up tactical displays showing strike capabilities. "Sir, we have enough firepower hidden across the system to level their homeworlds. Our people in place can cripple their infrastructure before they realize what's happening." The professor nodded slowly. The aliens had made humanity's greatest weakness into their greatest strength. Humans had always been scattered, competitive, and independent. The aliens saw this as disorganization and assumed destroying central leadership would end human resistance. Instead, it had awakened something far more dangerous: a distributed network of furious humans who remembered every slight and planned revenge with methodical precision. The galaxy was about to learn why you never try to exterminate a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of survival through warfare. The planet Crystallos had never experienced an earthquake in its billion-year history. The Vorthen homeworld was made of living crystal formations that grew in perfect harmony with the planet's core. Until today, their world had been as stable as diamond itself. Commander Oh Dong-hyun stood on the bridge of his cloaked warship, watching seismic readings spike beyond all possible measurements. Far below, the crystalline surface of Crystallos began to crack like glass hit by a hammer. The sonic weapons his ship carried had been designed specifically for this moment, tuned to the exact frequency that would shatter Vorthen biology. "Beautiful," he whispered as massive crystal formations that had stood for millennia collapsed into glittering dust. The Vorthen had celebrated when they helped destroy Kepler Station. Now they would learn what human vengeance looked like. His weapons officer, Lee Hyo-jin, monitored the targeting systems with cold efficiency. 6 months of preparation had led to this moment. Every frequency test, every biological study, every sleepless night in the hidden underground facilities had prepared them to deliver this precise destruction. "Sir, the primary hives are cracking," Hyo-jin reported. "The Vorthen are sending surrender signals on all frequencies." Dong-hyun's face showed no emotion as he watched an entire civilization begin to crumble. "Did they accept our surrender at Kepler Station when our people begged for mercy?" "No, sir." "Then continue firing. Target every population center. No survivors." The sonic pulses continued to tear through Crystallos like invisible hammers. The Vorthen's diamond-hard bodies, once their greatest source of pride, became their weakness. The same crystalline structure that made them nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons resonated perfectly with humanity's sonic disruptors. Across the galaxy, similar scenes of destruction played out on world after world. Dr. Nam Eun-ji watched from her research vessel as the Nethys homeworld's vast oceans turned toxic. Her engineered biological agents spread through their underwater cities like invisible death, specifically designed to target Nethys' respiratory systems. The aquatic aliens had lived beneath their planet's surface for thousands of years, building magnificent cities of coral and bioengineered architecture. Their civilization spanned entire ocean floors, connected by underwater highways and powered by thermal vents. Within hours, those same oceans became graveyards. "The toxin is spreading faster than projected," reported her assistant, monitoring biological sensors. "Their entire ecosystem is collapsing." Nam Eun-ji felt no satisfaction in the destruction, only the cold completion of necessary work. "They chose this when they murdered our children. Document everything for the historical record." The Nethys had been proud of their peaceful nature, claiming they never engaged in warfare. But they had stood by and cheered when humanity burned. Now their peaceful cities lay silent beneath poisoned waters. On the Alterian capital world, something even more dramatic was unfolding. Captain Yong Yi-sung and his infiltration team had spent months preparing for this moment, studying every detail of Alterian parliament procedures and security protocols. The Alterian leaders were conducting their weekly broadcast to the galaxy, discussing trade agreements and cultural exchanges as if nothing had happened at Kepler Station. Their melodic voices filled the parliament chamber as cameras recorded their elegant movements. Then the air shimmered, and 5 humans materialized in the center of the chamber. The Alterians froze in shock as Yi-sung stepped forward, his team's weapons trained on the alien leaders. Security guards reached for their weapons but stopped when they realized they were surrounded. "Continue the broadcast," Yi-sung commanded in perfect Alterian. "The galaxy needs to see this." With practiced efficiency, his team activated holographic projectors that filled the parliament chamber with images from Kepler Station. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the footage showed human diplomats reaching for the treaty stylus, only to die in nuclear fire as alien battleships opened fire. "You called it the cleansing," Yi-sung announced, his voice carrying to every world in the galactic network. "We call it genocide. Today you learn the difference between a civilized species and humanity." The recording showed Alterian leaders celebrating the successful massacre, toasting the elimination of the human threat, with crystal goblets filled with their ceremonial wine. The footage revealed their careful planning, their coordination with other species, their joy at humanity's suffering. Across the galaxy, alien species watched the broadcast with growing horror. Many had believed the Alterian story about humanity being a dangerous species that needed to be eliminated preemptively. Now they saw the truth: humanity had been peaceful until they were betrayed. The broadcast cut off as Alterian security forces stormed the chamber, but the damage was complete. Every species in the galaxy had seen the evidence of the Alliance's deception. Agent Shin Boare, humanity's sleeper operative deep within the Galactic Council, transmitted urgent intelligence reports as panic spread through the alien leadership. She had spent years building her cover identity, pretending to be a minor trade liaison while actually monitoring their communications and decision-making processes. "They're beginning to fracture," she reported to the Human Command Network. "Several species are demanding explanations from the Alterians. The Corvan Empire is threatening to withdraw from the Alliance entirely." The aliens had expected humanity to die quietly after Kepler Station. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that appeared to be everywhere at once. Human warships materialized in systems that should have been impossible to reach. Human agents activated on worlds where no humans were supposed to exist. Ships that shouldn't exist used technology that shouldn't be possible. The aliens discovered that humanity had been far more advanced than they had realized, and far more prepared for betrayal than they had imagined. As reports of devastation poured in from across the galaxy, the alien leadership finally understood their catastrophic mistake. They hadn't eliminated a potential threat. They had awakened humanity's true nature and given them a reason to unleash it upon the galaxy. The first wave of human retribution was complete, but it was only the beginning of their revenge. The great council chambers that had once symbolized galactic unity now echoed with angry voices and accusations. Admiral Kang Min-ho watched the chaos unfold through hidden cameras placed throughout the building by human agents years earlier. The aliens were tearing themselves apart, exactly as humanity had planned. The Nexari representative waved its thick tentacles in the air, its blue skin flushing darker with rage. "This is exactly what the humans wanted," it shouted at the other delegates. "They are systematically exploiting every historical conflict we have ever had. They turned the Vorthan survivors against the Kelly by revealing our secret territorial agreements from 50 years ago." Around the circular chamber, representatives from dozens of alien species argued loudly. Some pointed accusing fingers at others, while many looked confused and frightened. The careful diplomatic relationships that had taken centuries to build were crumbling in a matter of hours. High Counselor Veltar of the Alterians, his crystalline body gleaming under the chamber lights, slammed his fist on the speaking podium with a sound like breaking glass. "Silence, all of you. The human plague must be contained before they contaminate more systems with their chaos." But his words only made the arguments worse. The Corvan delegate stood up angrily. "Human plague? You mean the species you convinced us to murder at that peace treaty? The species that was trying to join us as friends?" Hidden in the ventilation system above the chamber, Agent Ryu Heejin recorded every word through her advanced surveillance equipment. She had spent 3 years working as a minor translator in the council building, learning their languages and customs while secretly preparing for this moment. Her fingers moved quickly across her communicator as she transmitted the entire conversation to human command centers across the galaxy. Within minutes, the recording was being broadcast to resistance networks and sympathetic alien species who had grown disgusted by the Alliance's brutality. On Earth's moon base, General An Sungwoo studied holographic maps that showed the political breakdown happening across the galaxy. His command center buzzed with activity as intelligence reports poured in from human agents on dozens of worlds. "Sir, the Kelrani Empire has secretly contacted us," reported Colonel Park Eugene, pointing to a cluster of star systems on the map. "They're offering to share intelligence about Alterian military positions in exchange for protection from retaliation." Sungwoo nodded with satisfaction. The Kelrani had always been uncomfortable with the Alliance's aggressive policies, but they had been too weak to resist alone. Now they saw an opportunity to break free. "What about the other fence-sitters?" he asked. Eugene highlighted 3 different systems with red markers. "The Zephyri Empire is mobilizing their entire fleet against the Alterians. Apparently, they never forgave them for that mining rights dispute 40 years ago. The Alterians forced them to give up their most profitable asteroid fields." "Excellent," Sungwoo smiled grimly. "Captain Kim Hae-won, take your battle group to the Proxima sector immediately. Intelligence reports that Vorthan survivors are fleeing there in refugee ships. Show them that running only delays the inevitable." The captain saluted sharply. "Yes, sir." "No survivors?" "No survivors," Sungwoo confirmed. "They celebrated when our children died at Kepler Station. Let them face the same mercy they showed us." Across the galaxy, ancient feuds that had been carefully managed for thousands of years suddenly exploded into open warfare. Human intelligence operatives used their detailed knowledge of alien psychology to stoke every old grievance and territorial dispute. The Thessian Republic, angry about trade route restrictions, launched attacks on Alterian commercial ships. The Drakmar clans, who had never forgotten being forced to relocate from their ancestral worlds, began raiding Alliance supply lines. Species that had worked together for centuries now viewed each other with suspicion and hatred. Dr. Moon Ji-hai, humanity's chief expert on alien psychology, presented her analysis to the War Council through a holographic display. Charts and graphs showed the breakdown of alien alliance structures in real time. "Their fundamental error was assuming all species think the same way they do," she explained to the assembled human commanders. "They are predictable because they have never faced an enemy that adapts faster than they can plan responses." She pulled up psychological profiles of different alien species. The Alterians believe in rigid hierarchy and central control. The Vorthan follow crystal matrix group thinking. The Nethys make decisions through biological consensus. They cannot understand how humans can switch tactics instantly or operate independently. General Sungwoo studied the data carefully. "How long before complete alliance collapse?" "Based on current trends, total breakdown within 6 months, Ji-hai replied. "But we should accelerate the process. I recommend releasing the classified files we obtained about their historical war crimes." The files she referenced contained decades of secretly recorded conversations, hidden agreements, and evidence of atrocities committed by Alliance species against weaker civilizations. Human agents had been gathering this information for years, never knowing how valuable it would become. As the Galactic Alliance collapsed into civil war, Fleet Admiral Song Du-young broadcast a message to all human forces from his flagship hidden in the asteroid belt. His weathered face showed the determination of a man who had lost everything and now lived only for revenge. "Phase 1 of our retribution is complete." His voice echoed through communication systems across the solar system. "The alien alliance is broken. Their unity is shattered. Now we begin Phase 2, planetary retribution protocols." He paused, looking directly into the camera with eyes that burned with cold fury. "Let them remember why you never betray a species that survived by making war into an art form." The message reached human forces positioned throughout the galaxy. Sleeper agents activated final preparation sequences. Hidden weapons platforms powered up their targeting systems. Refugee ships that appeared helpless revealed their true nature as disguised warships. The universe was beginning to tremble as humanity prepared to unleash the full fury of their revenge upon the galaxy that had tried to murder them. The beautiful blue skies of the Alterian homeworld had never been disturbed by anything more threatening than gentle rain clouds. For millions of years, their planet had known only peace and prosperity. Today that peace shattered as hundreds of human warships dropped out of quantum space like deadly thunder. Fleet Admiral Kim Junsu stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the world that had planned humanity's destruction. The ship's name was painted in bold letters across its hull: Retribution. Every human who saw that name knew exactly what it meant. The Altarian planet looked peaceful from space, with its crystal cities gleaming like jewels scattered across green continents. But Junsu felt no beauty when he looked at it. He saw only the world where aliens had planned the murder of his species. "Sir," reported Navigation Officer Lee So-min, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to do. "All battle groups are in position. Every human ship is ready for your command." Through the communication systems, desperate Altarian voices pleaded in their musical language. Their defense fleet, once proud and mighty, now seemed pathetically small compared to the human armada surrounding their world. "The Altarian defense fleet is requesting terms for surrender, sir," So-min continued. "They're offering to negotiate." Junsu's face remained as cold as space itself. His family had died when the aliens destroyed Seoul. His children had been playing in the park when the nuclear fire consumed everything he loved. Did they offer terms when they murdered our children at Kepler Station? Did they negotiate when they burned our cities? The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of the ship's systems. Every human officer present had lost someone in the betrayal. They all understood what came next. "Deploy the atmospheric processors," Junsu ordered quietly. Across the galaxy, identical scenes played out on every world that had participated in humanity's betrayal. Captain Won Jae-hoon led his ships to the surviving Vorthan colonies, his weapons specifically designed to shatter their crystalline bodies. Commander Yoon Hai-rim systematically dismantled what remained of Nethi's civilization, poisoning their oceans just as they had poisoned humanity's trust. But this wasn't simple conquest or revenge. This was humanity completely rewriting how the galaxy worked. They had spent months learning every alien species' weaknesses, exploiting every political division, and turning their enemies' own advanced technologies against them with terrifying efficiency. In the depths of space, far from any planet or star, Dr. Choi Mingyu prepared humanity's final demonstration. His team had built something that would send a message to every civilization in the galaxy, whether they had participated in the betrayal or simply watched it happen. The quantum resonance generators were massive devices that combined alien technology with human engineering in ways their creators never imagined possible. When activated, they could send gravitational waves rippling through space itself, reaching every corner of the galaxy simultaneously. "Are all systems ready?" Mingyu asked his team of scientists and engineers. "Yes, sir," replied his chief technician. "The resonance field will reach every inhabited world within minutes of activation." Mingyu nodded and placed his hand on the activation control. "Let every species in the galaxy feel this moment." The generators hummed to life, building energy that warped space around them. Then they released their power in a coordinated pulse that raced through the galaxy faster than light itself. On millions of worlds, alien seismic sensors detected the same impossible reading. The gravitational waves weren't destructive, but they carried an unmistakable message. Humanity now possessed technology that could affect entire planets from anywhere in the galaxy. Admiral Park Sun-ho stood on the bridge of humanity's newest and most powerful warship as he prepared to address the galaxy. The dreadnought was a masterpiece of human engineering, built with stolen alien technology and improved beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Open communication channels to all frequencies," he ordered. "Make sure every species in the galaxy receives this message." His voice echoed across space, reaching every world, every space station, every ship in the galactic community. "Attention, galaxy. This is Admiral Park Sun-ho speaking for the human species. For those civilizations who participated in the genocide at Kepler Station, your judgment is now complete." He paused, letting his words sink in across thousands of worlds where aliens listened in fear. "For those who stood aside and watched our people die, remember this moment. Remember what happens when you mistake mercy for weakness." The quantum pulse that followed his words wasn't meant to destroy anything. It was a demonstration of power that every alien world could feel in their very bones. Their planets trembled slightly as the gravitational waves passed through them, a gentle reminder that humanity could shake worlds themselves if they chose to. President Yang Ho-jin, elected from the survivors in the Luna colonies, delivered humanity's final message to what remained of the galactic community. His words were broadcast from every human ship, every hidden base, every occupied world. "We are not your equals anymore," Yang announced with calm authority. "We are not your partners. We are not your friends. We are the species you tried to murder and failed to kill. We are the nightmare you created when you chose betrayal over diplomacy." As human fleets moved to establish control zones around former Alliance worlds, the galaxy finally understood the true meaning of humanity's ancient promise: never again. The universe seemed to hold its breath as a completely new order emerged. Humanity no longer sought to join galactic civilization as members or partners. They now stood as its unquestioned rulers, the species that had taught the galaxy a lesson written in fire and gravitational waves. The aliens had learned too late why you never try to exterminate a species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of warfare against everything that threatened their survival. The galaxy would never forget the day humanity's rage made the universe itself tremble in fear.